When your bare-bearded dragon just sits there and stares at you, do you actually know what they're trying to say? Yeah, it looks still, maybe even a little intense, but behind that stare, there's something going on that most owners completely miss. It's one of the most emotionally loaded things your beardie can do, and if you misread it, which most owners do, you could be missing messages they've been sending you this whole time. Let's start with what that stare really means, and stick around until the very end, because there's one specific type of stare your bearded dragon gives you that almost no owner ever recognizes. Once you understand it, the way you see your beardie will never be the same. 1. They're not zoning out, they're completely locked in on you. Here's the first thing most people get wrong. When your bearded dragon goes still and stares, it looks passive. It looks like they're just sitting there, doing nothing. But that's the exact opposite of what's happening. Bearded dragons are prey animals by nature. In the wild, staying perfectly still while watching something is a survival skill. It means something has their full, undivided attention. And when that something is you, that stare isn't empty, it's focused. Researchers who study reptile cognition have found that bearded dragons are far more visually aware than most people realize. They can track movement, distinguish between familiar and unfamiliar faces, and process visual information with a level of detail that rivals many mammals. So when your beardie locks eyes with you from across the tank, they're not spacing out. They're reading you, taking you in, processing everything about you in that moment. Most owners walk right past that. You wouldn't anymore. 2. They know exactly who you are, and the stare proves it. A lot of people assume reptiles can't really recognize their owners, that they're just responding to warmth or movement, that you're basically interchangeable with any other human who walks into the room. That's not true. And science is finally catching up to what dedicated beardie owners have known for years. Studies on bearded dragon behavior have shown that they respond differently to familiar people versus strangers. Their body language shifts, their stress levels change, and the way they stare, the quality of it, is noticeably different depending on who's in front of them. When your bearded dragon stares at you, part of what they're doing is confirming, yep, that's my person. I know that face. I know that energy. I know that voice. That stare isn't random. It's recognition. And recognition in the animal world is the beginning of trust. 3. They're deciding how they feel, and you're the variable. Bearded dragons are incredibly sensitive to the energy in their environment. Temperature, light, sound, all of it affects them. But so do you. Your body language, the speed of your movements, the tone of your voice, your beardie is picking up on all of it. And that stare, that's them running a real-time assessment. Are you moving fast or slow today? Are you calm or tense? Are you coming toward them or keeping your distance? A 2017 study on reptile stress responses found that bearded dragons show measurably lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone, when handled consistently by familiar owners compared to strangers. That means your presence, specifically yours, has a physiological effect on your beardie. So when they stare at you before you reach into the tank, they're not just watching, they're deciding. And the more calm and consistent you are, the more that stare softens into something else entirely. And hey, if this is already changing how you see your beardie, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us reach more reptile owners who actually want to understand their animals on a deeper level. 4. There's one stare that means they feel completely safe with you. You'll know this one when you see it. Your beardie is resting on their basking spot, body loose, beard pale and flat, and they look over at you with this long, unhurried gaze. No tension, no puffing, just still, open, and watching. That is one of the most significant things a bearded dragon can show you. In the wild, a relaxed bearded dragon is a vulnerable bearded dragon. Their natural instinct is to stay alert, stay ready, and never fully let their guard down in the presence of something larger than them. But with you they do. When a beardie's beard stays pale and their body stays soft while they stare at you, they've made a decision that goes against millions of years of survival instinct. They've decided you are not a threat. That around you, they don't have to be afraid. That's not nothing. That's everything. 5. Sometimes they stare because they're bored, and that's something we need to talk about. Not every stare from your bearded dragon is deep and emotional. Some of them are your beardie telling you something very simple. There is nothing happening in here, and I need something to change. Bearded dragons are far more intelligent than most people give them credit for. They need mental stimulation, visual variety, interaction. When their environment is static and nothing new is happening, they will sit and stare at you, at the wall, at anything, because their brain is hungry for input. A beardie who stares at you with a slightly forward lean, shifting their weight, maybe glass surfing before or after that's not zoning out, that's a request. They want out. They want interaction. They want you to do something. Recognizing this specific stare and responding to it handling time, a change of scenery, even just rearranging their enclosure, makes a real difference in a bearded dragon's quality of life. And a beardie whose needs are being met will look at you completely differently than one who's been waiting for something to happen. 6. There's one stare you should never brush off. If your bearded dragon is staring at you with a darkened beard, a puffed up body, or their mouth slightly open, stop. That's not curiosity. That's your beardie telling you something is wrong. Bearded dragons communicate almost entirely through body language and visual signals. A dark beard, combined with a fixed stare, is one of their clearest warning signs. It can mean they feel threatened, they're in pain, they're stressed by something in their environment, or they're sick and their body is under pressure. The hard truth is that bearded dragons are stoic animals. They mask discomfort until it becomes unavoidable. By the time they're visibly showing you distress through a stare like this, they've probably been dealing with something for a while. So pay attention to the full picture. Flat, pale beard, relaxed body, calm eyes, that's comfort. Dark beard, stiff posture, hard fixed gaze, that's a message you need to take seriously. Your beardie is always communicating. The stare is the signal. It's your job to learn the difference. 7. The stare that happens when you're not looking and what it actually means. Remember at the beginning when I said there's one type of stare almost no owner ever recognizes? This is it. Here's something that owners who spend a lot of time near their beardie's enclosure start to notice. When you're in the room not looking at them, not interacting, just existing nearby your bearded dragon will often turn and stare at you, not at the door, not at a light source, not at movement, at you, specifically. Reptile behaviorists who have studied this describe it as orientation toward a preferred stimulus. In plain terms, your beardie has decided that you are something worth paying attention to, worth tracking, worth watching, even when there's nothing happening and nothing to gain. There's no food involved. You're not about to handle them, you're just there. And they're watching anyway. For an animal that evolved to conserve energy, to stay still and focused only when it matters, choosing to watch you for no reason other than your presence is a statement. It means you've become part of their world in a way that goes beyond routine. You're not just the food source. You're not just the heat lamp keeper. You are something they notice, something they track, something that matters to them in whatever way a bearded dragon is capable of caring. That's not instinct, that's a relationship. So the next time your bearded dragon goes still and stares at you from across the tank, from their basking spot, from the moment you walk into the room, you know what's really happening. They're not zoning out, they're not being weird. They're watching you the way they watch everything that matters to them carefully, quietly, and completely. The least we can do is start watching back.